one of the other horrid things I cover in Erol on Psychopath, is that it's also wired back to front. So what turns you on will turn it off and vice versa. And the very, very important thing that I didn't mention in Erol on Psychopath is chemicals in the brain, neurochemicals. There's MAOA, and that is a very, very important chemical. If there's low levels of that in the brain, then it's just flatlining. I could have just said that. And in all psychopaths, it's very, 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 very flat. And it doesn't have the additional input and excitement of its true self, because its true self has been taken away from it by a lack of connection along the alternate vesiculus between the back of the noggin, where you have feelings, and the front, right? And so if they're not connected, they don't have any feelings in their body. When I got so much left to give in my body. But however, they actually feel that's an advantage on their part, that they don't have feelings in their body, they just feel cold. You're as cold as ice! No, the thing is, you had to imagine the piano. I'll get me trolley. Right, so the point is this, right? That so they don't have any external excitement from life, really, because they don't have any internal exciter, you know, exacerbator inside their own being, you know, their own true self. All they have are feelings. Feelings, alright. The thing is, right, where I would use intelligence and reasoning and, you know, compassion and experience and a depth of emotion to call upon stored with the componentry of the memory itself, they just say and do whatever they feel like, no? And see if you don't like it, then that's where the practiced pish comes out. And this is where the con comes through, right? This is where people who are not human, they're just actors, will bamboozle you. Oh no, I've went ahead and gone bamboozled. Oh, for fuck's sake, oh no, I've got a fucking, I'm being molested, but behave yourself. Here's the thing, they know right from wrong, right, and you could just say to them, fucking behave yourself, and they would behave themselves. However, they tend not to behave themselves, as they, from infancy, are constantly trying to excite themselves, and it's always at other beings' expense whom they don't have that full, compassionate, duplexed adult depth of componentry for. And as an infant, you would say, well, most infants are like that. They never get beyond that, and they have no balance. And due to storing just memories they can recall, like right, they can basically just recall strategies, you know, that have worked in the past, resonances they remember that you responded to in a certain way in the past, just cold, you know, calculating at this wee chicken at the back of their fucking head, you know, using this, you know, wafer thin, really fast recollection of, you know, shallow, superficial. It's like a giant fold away Tommy Tippy polystyrene chessboard they've got, you know, and it's moving and advancing on you, finding ways to get to the very core of your amygdala and stab it, you know, and then leave you with that rapier dagger, wobbling there, and then make good their escape. This is what their ambition is, this is what the way they think. Like a mosquito, imagining it's travelling through your brain to put its proboscis into a hopefully vulnerable point in your brain that's tender and you know, cause you trauma there, looping around your pathology. And so they're looking for your Achilles heel. But here's the clue. they have an Achilles body. Right? So that's what the unconscious, they don't have any true insight into, as they lack self-awareness. Yeah? And if you don't store any depth of emotion with memory, you don't appreciate life. Yeah? And if you lack this componentry, you can't appreciate life, as well as not storing it in appreciable ways. So all they are cold, calculating, from being able to recall emotionless memories to manipulate other people to get what the control wants at the very, very tiny dark heart of that creature that refuses to behave itself if it feels you won't provide it with the consequence it deserves. And I am a living Christ. And I'm saying to you, as a living Christ, it's 100% moral to kill them. Right? They know right from wrong. Right? They choose wrong. And this is a bit, it took me a long time to work out, you know. They're sex offenders, you know. They're wired back to front. Where? In the sexual pleasure centre. It's called the Ventral Tegmental Reward Centre. Look it up, you Dunce-Cunt. Right, here's the thing, right. It's where you feel pleasure if you come. And since there's no fucking meaning to their life, you know, that is the fucking meaning. Sex is the meaning of their life. And since they're wired back to front, right, and they're cold, calculating, you know, users, they actually are abusers. And this helps them ameliorate against the fact that they were born with a tiny little reptilian chicken brain. And the thing is, so they want to prove that being born with literally a prawn on a cocktail stick is an advantage to a human because you have feelings. Know that again. The thing is, right, they want to feel gone superiored, right? And when this isn't functioning in your brain, this is the horrible, horrible, horrible reality of it, right? When this part of your brain's not functioning, you automatically believe you're the centre of the universe. As you're cut off from, you know, the true meaning of life itself, which is empathy. And I am an empath. A Christ-like empath. Fuck your mother! And you know, and basically, I'm a moral empath, which is why, you know, I'm able to channel the moral law of the universe, right? They channel it backward into their life. Right now, the moral law of the universe doesn't give a fuck if you're a spazzy. Right? Right? Gravity's a law, right? It doesn't give a fuck if you're a Dunce-Cunt. Try it, right? I'm going up the top of that building because I'm a proper spazzy, right? And you fuck yourself off it. But I'm a spazzy, so that shouldn't. Right? 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 So, basically, so by the law of morality, it doesn't give a fuck if you're a spazzy or no, right? If you channel it backwards into your life, you'll slowly but surely be the sole recipient of it. And shite like that invariably want to share. Misery loves company, Ken, like that now. I'm gonna have to get this fucking floor spirit levelled. Right, here's the thing, right? Fancy menu. So, right, I don't care if you didn't. And the point is that I was arriving at, when they throw themselves off the moral upward trajectory, you know, it's channeled backwards into their life. It's a law. And let's say the difference between me channeling it positively into my life on an upward trajectory, you know, I have, you know, channeled miracles into my life tangibly. I genuinely am a living Christ and have tangible evidence to substantiate it. You think some cunts would wake up and go, here, That's quite important, isn't that? You know, however they don't, they just continue eating crisps made of Lysone that turn your grandkids gay. You couldn't make it up. And, sorry for ignoring you over there, but you're a Dunce-Cunt. Fuck off. No, I'm joking, of course. Right. So, I channel it and it started becoming unmistakable. Basically, mate, no cunt's interested. Get fuck yourself. Hey! Hey! And today I thought to myself, I wonder if I can trace it back in that high octave, even further than I originally first noticed it. And sure as fuck I did. I remember the very, very first time was 20 years ago, actually. I noticed it today, and there's no doubt countless examples going all the way back, right? But channeling morality straight into my life, you know, miracles started happening. And I heard this corrupt prick, right, once say, I believe, you know, and just because that sounds a bit too like Martin Luther King, I'll move on. Right, you know, he was actually more like this. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe if you give me $20, just $20 is all I'm asking. You send me the $20, you bring the $20 in this procession plate here and into the offertory, and what we shall do is you shall see that the law of God in heaven above will actually give you tons more money. It's the law of the universe, right? And when that motherfucker said that, I've been thinking that for about 2 years or whatever it was at that juncture. Now, he's a lying prick, right? But what he said, just by coincidence, is true. You know, if you're not a lying, corrupt, low-life reptile, right? Which is what you are if you're cut off from the front of your brain and all these other bits and bobs. All you are is an amygdala, which is the reptile part of the brain. Everything else developed from that evolutionarily. At one juncture you were a reptile, as I discussed in Erol On Psychopaths. You know, in your ear is your original jawbone. You couldn't make it up, right? And everybody knows that though, most people know it. And so the amygdala, where your feelings are based, you know, your fight or flight mechanism, some people call it, you know, your love or hate, your black or white, you know, your fight or flight. The control, right? It's there behind the bridge that's known as the hippocampus, which becomes atrophied because of what I mentioned earlier, what happens to you at primary concentration campus. Go check it out on Erol On Psychopath. It's a really good listen. And and the nutcake is this, right? I've gone special. Now, what I was saying was, when you channel that law backwards into your life, the difference is, I got those gifts really, really quickly, and you get it returned slowly but surely. And at the end of your life, and it's a short life, in your next generation, you face an eternity of damnation. And I'll come to that in a flash. So, the gifts I started getting were unmistakable, you know, they were cash gifts, right? And you think to yourself, what? And like, you know, thousands from here, thousands from there, all over the place, and yet I couldn't give it away fast enough. And I said it a quarter of a decade ago on YouTube, you can check it out. I predicted I was going to be living in a forest. You know, I want to live in a forest, right? I famously said, and I now own a fucking massive, massive fuck off forest, vineyard, olive grove, orange grove, you name it. I live right next to a massive fuck off jungle, right? You couldn't make it up. Now, I want to live on a mountain, right? And essentially I kind of do, but I want to live right, really, really remote. You know, either that or in the desert, and or on a beach. Those are my options. I haven't made my mind up yet. No, I haven't decided. So, however, every single thing, no matter the iniquities of the vermin who have been attracted to my light, to my humanity, due to their existential jealousy and imbecilic, incorrect conclusion that my kindness is weakness, because people mistake my kindness for weakness when I'm phenomenally strong and have a huge heart and gargantuan compassion and morality and self-confidence, which comes from your right frontal lobe. Psychopaths are core inadequate, which is why they're always hyper-competitive, trying to prove themselves in a competition only they're in, otherwise known as self-destruction amongst others, you know. No? And so, you're supposed to recognise that, and when you're going about your life, just be hyper-competitive automatically when you meet people and put them in a place really quickly. I don't want to go through life like that, you know, because if I put you in your place, you know, that'll scar you for life, which is what you deserve. However, I'm at a stage now where I'd rather just, you know, pull out a gun and fucking shoot you in the face. I don't give a fuck about you, you know. And I would, you know, think nothing of it, you know. When I'm walking through my forest, you know, and my shoulder hits against a branch of a tree and it snaps off, you know, it's become really brittle with the lovely weather we have here in Lagutrop. I don't sit up late that night and go, that twig, I thought it was a branch. That branch, if only I'd just pulled my shoulder in, I would still be here to this day. No, genuinely, I'll just shoot you in the fucking face and I'll sit up whistling, you know. And the point is this, and start my feet, I'm drinking some of my house wine. I've got the best wine. I'm going to do a video called Erol on Justice, which is going to feature that wine quite heavily, hopefully. And the wine is so good from my vineyard, right, that when you drink it, right, no matter who you are, you end up stamping your feet and whistling, and you wake up the next day and somehow your socks have become stuck to the ceiling, you know. Hey! And you start singing songs from the 1980s and thinking that they're quite good, you know. That's really when music stopped being music altogether. I'm going to cover it in Erol on music in another video. Hey! So here's the thing, right, you better get to phone. I know your mom's name, she's a cow, probably had her. Anyway, do you know this weather? Quite a lot of chicks that slid under me when I was face down on Beaverley. They have contacted me to tell me how much they love me and miss me and adore me. And I've been harassed and harangued, you know. And then eventually another one, you know, who is quite a profound farter, a fartress, as I famously christened her, whose bum starts halfway up her back. She's got an arsehole coming out her spine. She contacted me at the blue, and then she said something positive. Mate, what convinced you would give a fuck about you saying all that? I asked you. So, my vineyard, yeah, I think it might be something to do with the fact that the moral law of the universe being channeled into my life has provided me with not only but also. And so, what I'm saying is, right, if you're moral, you ingrain your pathology into your noggin, right, and it's all straight, you know, and it's coming from a straight ventral tegmental reward centre. It's going straight to your moral conscience and core adequacy and honesty sections of your brain, where you see other people as humans rather than objects and feel for them as humans rather than objects and reason with yourself on behalf of them as though they were human, though in most cases they're not. And you know, you'll feel in your body and you'll feel back here for yourself in tandem. Tandem? I fucking shagged the ass off him. So the point is this, right? Right, that if you're immoral, missing that componentry, and you're misled by the paedophile ring I mentioned at the very start. Well remembered, Big Yun. No problem, wee Yun. Now, then what will happen is you'll ingrain pathology, which is corruption. It's a form of dementia, really, and it becomes rigid and hardened. It's a defence mechanism, really. But it's, of course, an offensive defence mechanism. And so I used to find people disgusting. It was the tail end of me being as Christ-like as I've ever managed to be, you know. And I've then gone beyond that, you know, some even more Christ-like than Jesus was up for, he decided, fuck this, I'm away. Fuck this, I'm away. And so basically, Jesus just chucked it, man. He couldn't be arsed. Once he realised, I've been born in the chicken age. I've been born in the chicken age. Right? And he just thought, fuck it. And it's only, 2,000 years now since he chucked it. You don't evolve in that short a period of time. So